day 2 officially.
You know, I thought we didn't take anything a step backward in any way. I thought these guys came out with a good amount of intensity. Again, you could tell that we added a little bit to the package, and so guys were thinking a little bit more, which you expected. But I thought it was crisp, guys playing with good energy, and we got to keep that going.
As far as what you're putting in, are you kind of assessing what you think guys are able to handle, or is it just they have to make sure they're up to speed?
Well, I think they can handle what we're doing. We're kind of, again, just the starting point, the very foundation on both sides. And there's something to that. You got to get that right before you can start building on it. And so we're getting a lot of reps at that stuff now, and I think they're grasping really well.
Without Noah for the spring, what do you see from the tight ends who are kind of getting acclimated?
Yeah,
it's a big opportunity.
It is. It is. You know, all these turns they're getting is critical, and not just for the tight end room, but for every position. So we've liked what we've seen out there out of those guys. We are asking the tight end position. You're asking those guys a lot. From the run game, they're a part of that, obviously, and then the pass game, whether they're running routes or in protection at times. And so those guys are asked to do a lot. And they've handled the first 2 days pretty well.
With what Christian Walsh been able to give you at running back, how do you like your depth at running back right now with him there, or still maybe would like to see a little bit more?
No, I like where those guys are at. You know, we've got some guys that can carry the ball. It's things change, you get the pads on, and so I'll be very curious to see those guys the next couple of days and get some pads on. Because you know, right now it's pretty much we're tagging off and going, but once they start carrying the ball and that ball can get bounced around, that's when we'll know more.
And in terms of kind of your leader, how has Artavis looked, and is he kind of looking up to what you've seen from him on film prior to all this?
Yep, I'm really happy with him. You know, I think he's taking a little bit of leadership role in that room for sure. By example, just the way he's working, and he's been studying it. So we like him.
How much on-field coaching are you doing? Or are you mostly just overseeing at this point?
It's a little bit of the oversee piece, just to lay the structure, how practice is going and all that. The reality is I feel great about the coaches I've got, and those guys are experts, and letting them guys go and coach is first in my mind.
What can you tell about the quarterbacks? I know you're limited right now, but what can you tell about what you've got there?
I think we've got some talent. I think we've got some competition that's been created in the numbers that we've got throwing the ball around. And so, you know, it's not just one day and then you're gonna be able to make some decisions on guys. They gotta make some mistakes. You're gonna put some plays in, and they gotta test some windows. So I'm fired up for that group to just come and compete and learn. And Coach Linger working with those guys, I think they'll continue to improve.
Did one or a couple of those guys feel like they were really acclimating to what you were installing for them?
You know, I think all of them kind of stand out to me, really, the way they've bought into learning. And again, these are just the first week of learning. They've been doing it the last couple of months. So as a group, happy with their approach.
When you come in and prepare for spring ball, how much of it is tailored toward what you have on your roster, and how much of it was kind of predetermined? How similar is it to what you guys did in Washington?
Right, it's a good question, and it's a balance. I mean, it's really, I don't know if it's as much it's an art more than a science, because there are some foundation things, schemes that we've been around that we know are very solid that we're doing, and then you get that foundation piece, then you start blending to, well, his skill set leads to this, and we'll focus on those areas. So starting out here, it's a foundation, and we know schematically what's good.
Is it similar at all to what you guys would do with Chris Peterson up in Seattle?
Oh, schematics, there's some, but then you're dabbling, obviously, University of Colorado, and Jimmy at Arizona, and Confense has been an offensive coordinator a bunch of places, so it's a blend a lot.
Do you think this scheme highlights what the tight end does, or requires more of the tight end than prior years?
We can go that route if we feel like that's a spot we want to continue to get those guys out there more and more. Again, starting out, we're just getting groups of 11 out there and letting them do some foundational plays, and then we'll assess the talent and what works well and move from there.
What have you kind of seen from the receiving core so far? Anything stand out to you in particular?
I've actually been pretty surprised, not surprised, but pleasantly encouraged with how dialed they've been, lining up, going where they're supposed to be going, giving some effort when they're trying to block a safety in the corner, and Vince has done a great job with those guys.
You mentioned running back depth. Is Hunter Matson in that mix at all, or are you looking at him more as a kick returner type?
Well, we're giving him turns at back for sure, and he, we got some other guys in the room that are competing for the spot, but he's gotten a couple carries.
Hey, Jonathan, you got a lot of guys injured in the secondary, but you've also got quite a few guys out here. Do you feel like if you get everybody healthy, you have a little depth there?
Yeah, that'll be nice when we get everyone healthy, because at that position, at the tight end position we mentioned, we've got some guys that are just not full speed, but again, it's an opportunity for those other guys to get some reps.
The buy-in from players, it seems like players are staying late and then showing up early. Is that the culture you're trying to establish here?
Yeah, we'd like to, because we are limited on time, and these guys wanting to be the best version of themselves, it's going to take added work, so it's nice to see. I do think on back-to-back days these guys will need to be smart, but the culture piece, the trust in each other and doing the extra is going to make a difference.
It seems like from what we've been able to see in the first couple of days, there's been a lot of work on fundamentals and just basic like tackling and that kind of a thing. Was that a priority for you and your staff, was to make sure the fundamentals are solid before anything else?
Yeah, it's kind of teaching them how to do things versus just running plays out there. And so starting at the ground level, we made an emphasis of it, and it'll continue throughout spring. I mean, it really will, not just to the first 2 days here, just because we're in helmets only.
How important is Jeremy at the defensive tackle or the defensive line role, given how thin you are? At
Yeah,
position?
he was an important piece, like all those guys. You know, adding another good player there that can take reps and bring competition, and he's a great kid, and all of that's been awesome.
We saw Andre was out today. Is that going to be for the rest of the
That'll
spring?
be not for the rest. We're hopeful not for the rest of the spring, but you're not going to see him for at least a week. Hamstring deal.